it's very exhausting, I would say. Like playing from 12 to 6, and then obviously you got to play solo queue. So I'd say it's pretty full on to be like a full-time pro gamer.
Hi guys, this is Tom reporting from the LEC, and with me here is Destiny, the support player for Origen. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. You guys just won against Konkol 4, and I'm just gonna say this was probably expected to be a victory, right?
Yeah, I would say like it's a pretty fair bet that we'd win this game.
Now, still, when you do play against any opponent, I assume you still prepare for them. But when you face an opponent that's not performing so well, do you pay less attention to them?
I would say with how LEC is panning out, I think not underestimating your opponents is like a big thing right now. Like I think any team can like beat any other team on like a good day. So I'd say we treat them the same as any other team. Like show them respect, and yeah, it worked out for us today.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you hear that teams during scrims are better than when they play on stage. Is that something you've experienced with Schalke, or do you not play against them?
To be completely honest, like I don't think we've scrimmed Schalke for quite some time. But I think some teams definitely do perform better on stage. I think a lot of people were surprised to see Rogue do so well. SK have done like really well so far. I think a lot of these teams don't really play that well in scrims, but on stage they just seem to have a better understanding of how to execute their comps, and maybe they just take it seriously more. Like the pressure, or like I don't know what it is, but these teams just seem to be getting wins right now. So like good for them. Like if they're getting wins, then something's going right. Yeah.
And how is that for you? Do you always take your scrims like super seriously, or do you have your moments where you're like, you know, like we'll just joke around?
I think it depends, because like some scrims, like when we scrim Fnatic, like it gets like pretty bloodbathy. Like it kind of goes over the top. But if it's a lot more slower, I'd say like we take it very seriously and like try to work on our issues that we have on stage, or like try to expand the way that we play. Like for me in particular, a lot to do with champ pool. I feel like this split I've been working on a lot of my other champions and the way that we draft around it. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot more confident this split, and yeah, I'd say that our approach in scrims is very good for like learning and improving as a team.
Yeah,
I think if we keep it up, we'll be a strong team for playoffs.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's something that often is not paid much attention to, the scrim part of being a professional player. Everybody knows you do scrim, right? But can you just open up a bit about what, for example, your scrim schedule looks like? Do you scrim every day, or do you have a break?
So we play two of our days are for LEC. We have one break day, and the other 4 days is full on scrims. So we usually have a meeting at like 12, an hour-long meeting to just talk about what's our objectives, what's our practice, what do we do wrong on the weekend, what do we do well, what can we do better. Then it's 5 hours of 5 games, 5 scrims. We review every single one. The reviews take about 20 minutes usually, I would say. Yeah, and we usually play a different team every day, or like just whoever's available. Try to get the best team as possible to get the best practice. But yeah, everyone pretty much sticks to the same schedule. It's very exhausting, I would say. Like playing from 12 to 6, and then obviously you got to play solo queue. So I'd say it's pretty full on to be like a full-time pro gamer.
Yeah, and when you say that you try to find whoever's available, is it not something that is scheduled by the teams? Is it literally just in some Discord, like, hey guys, anybody want to play, or?
Yeah, like usually the coaches and the managers, like, yeah, they have like probably their own little Discord, own chat where like the coaches like agree on like start times and stuff like that.
And then on one day, do you play the same team all these 5 times, or is it different teams?
So on the per day, we just play that one team.
Okay. Yeah, so you have a best of 11 then, kind of, in a way, when you play.
No, we only play 5 games, but like even if you 3-0,
right,
yeah. Like it doesn't really matter. Like if we win the first 3 games, like we'll still play like 5.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. And is that, you know, when you prepare for a specific weekend, when you scrim against a team that you are facing that weekend, do you hold back your strategies more?
That's actually like a thing where like you don't want to practice against who you're playing on the weekend. So for example, this weekend we played against Mad and Schalke, so we don't scrim them this week. So we would scrim like G2, Fnatic, or like any other team that we won't be playing in like the next week or two is usually like the best teams to book.
Right, but that's still... I understand the philosophy, right? Because, you want to try out new champions or new rotations and stuff like that. But still, sometimes they are the best team to be able to practice against. And then you just rather avoid them. Because you could also say, right, even if you play reserved or conservative and don't show much of your new stuff, you still get a feeling of playing against them.
Yeah, I do agree in some part that like if all the teams were overbooked for whatever reason and we had to scrim against Schalke, I think there is an argument for playing against them as like the best team to practice. But there's also the other argument of like showing picks and like what you're trying to plan to prepare, like to get better at. I think in most cases, most teams would just scrim like an academy team or a Turkish team or something, just because they want to like keep it as serious as possible. I think most teams wouldn't want to like scrim Schalke and then like not try hard or like not play as seriously like a couple days before a match. So I think that's why most teams don't do it.
Right. And you've also practiced, like, does Origen also play against academy teams and TCL teams and stuff like that? Or maybe LCL?
Sometimes, like if there's literally nothing else and we just want practice, then yeah, we would book them sometimes.
Yeah. And is it for you, like you'd rather play against the really good teams to get tested more? But what's the benefit? Do you see a benefit of playing against those academy teams and maybe teams from other regions?
I think it's like, I know we've scrimmed some teams who have like played really weird strategies that we've like never seen before. So I guess there is like some benefit to like just seeing what they prioritize or what they think is good. In most cases so far, like the split playing against like the academy and the wildcard or like the play-in teams, they haven't been like that good in comparison to LEC teams. Like I won't say like these practice is great, but it's better than nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty certain that it is better to play these guys than just play solo queue.
Right. And then in addition, as you mentioned, to playing scrims from 12 to 6, 4 days a week, you also have to solo queue. And do you get a day off for that, or is your day off also you have to solo queue?
I would say it's up to the player if they want to play or not. I know for like me in particular or like Upset, like we like to play solo queue on our off day, mainly to just like play new champions or to just like refine our skills.
Right.
I think it's really up to like the player. At least what I believe personally is like if you love the game and you want to get better, like you play a lot more, you get into different situations, you just have a better feel for the game or a better understanding. So I think most of the great players in League of Legends have like spammed or like played a lot. Obviously there's like a lot of controversial like opinions of like finding a balance and like trying to be healthy and
right.
And like I completely agree with that. Like I think it's really up to the player and what they feel comfortable in. I think a perfect example is like Licorice, like NA, like he doesn't really play solo queue that much, like doesn't see much value in it. I think it's really up to the player and like the teams and what they agree with it.
Right. So for you then, on a given day that you also have to scrim, before 12, do you also play solo queue? And then after 6, do you also play solo queue? Like how many hours per day do you spend on playing League of Legends?
It would depend. Like if I wake up early enough and I don't really feel like going to the office, like I'd play from home. I'd say collectively probably play about, if I'm including scrims as well as practice, as well as like solo queue, probably like 8-9 hours a day. Okay. Like I like to do a queue with like Upset and Xerxes. So yeah, I just like playing with my teammates and yeah, I just like playing League. So
yeah.
Yep.
And are there any players, because sometimes you see people who've been on teams with each other formerly, or they just have become befriended in the league, also queue up together? Are there any other players from other teams you play with?
Not really, to be honest. I feel like a lot of players kind of like stick to themselves or like stick to their like team. Like they don't want to, like it feels a bit weird when like you do it with another player from another team. Like you don't want to like leak anything or
yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of teams have that, but no, I wouldn't say that I'm particularly like close with anyone from other teams, but you do have like a little bit of banter in solo queue. Like you see these players a lot. Like there's a lot of LEC players that play a lot, and I respect them.
Yeah, and you also come across them when you play solo queue, maybe in the other team, or maybe even on your team when you queue up.
Yeah. Like all the LEC players like flame each other like all the time. Like it's good fun being in high elo. Like it's very competitive, and I think that's why the region's like very successful.
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me and telling me more about this Scrim culture. I think it's very interesting to hear. And I also want to wish you obviously the best of luck in the rest of the split.
Thank you very much.